You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm also Joe Heath.
What?
Yeah.
This is a conundrum. And now I'm Toni Heath.
And now, what happens next?
This is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon. You gotta say the name of the show or else people won't know.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
Cool. Today we're going to be talking about the second serial of the 19th season of Doctor Who, 4 to Doomsday, which consists of 4 episodes that aired from January 18th, 1982 to January 26th, 1982.
True facts!
And I want to give a special shout out to Matt Golden for getting us these episodes.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
You can check him out at MatthewGolden.net.
Golden!
I want to say apologies, by the way, if you hear purring. The cat is in my lap and will not be moved.
She will not be moved. You know, that might be just a Southern gospel thing that other people don't know about that song. I don't know. Is that a popular song?
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, so sorry for being from the South. That's my apology.
I will need that apology every day.
I am sorry, love. Also, I think everyone should know that Toni has hurt her knees. The end.
I have. I don't know why everyone needs to know that.
In case, they hear some mild discomfort from you.
I was at the roller rink during a fast skate. I was going quite fast, and I lost a wheel, and I stopped myself from falling with my knee. That's not stopping. I fell on my knee.
Both of them, really.
Well, actually, that was from falling at a different time. I skinned up my right knee, and then I just broke my left knee. I mean, it's not actually broken. I haven't gone to the hospital or anything.
Who has money for that?
No. I think I would know if it was broken. It just hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Every time
I can use it,
she just screams a little.
Yeah, but I've got they're just skinned up. I mean,
it doesn't help that you keep walking into things as well.
I do. I keep running into things with my knees, and it's very bad.
Stop trying to find things with your knees. That's not how you do it.
I've got a bandage on it right now. I thought it was scabbed up, and then I tried to wear tights, and that was bad. And now those tights are ruined.
Great.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
is there anything else going on that we need to talk about before we dive into Doctor Who?
I don't know. I definitely want to stop talking about my knees.
Your bloody, bloody knees?
Yeah, we're probably squicking people out right now.
Sorry. We apologize if we... This is just a very apologetic episode.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I'm sorry that we just keep talking about Doctor Who. We've been doing it for 5 years. Yeah,
and we should have stopped a long time ago, truthfully.
It's actually about to be 5 years for us. I mean, it probably is already 5 years.
Yeah, we put that one thing out already.
Yeah, but I mean, in real time.
I gotcha.
In recording time. Yeah, for the people listening, we've already been going for 5 years. But for us personally, we're not quite there yet. March 4th, which is when our first episode went out, is this Wednesday.
And it's Joe's birthday.
He's,
at the time of you listening to this, Joe is 31.
Right now, I'm still living in the blissful ignorance of 30. When did we start recording? That's the real question. What was the day that we were like, we should do a Doctor Who
That's
podcast?
A good question, because even though we've been doing this for 5 years now, I can't imagine, I can imagine you being like, we should do this. I can't imagine how long it took you to convince me to actually do it.
I mean, originally, my idea was a Simpsons podcast, so that didn't happen. Because I was like, I'd like to watch all of The Simpsons in order and talk about it. And I was like, but maybe we should do something that we could do together.
Maybe we should do something that Toni might enjoy.
Right, so Doctor Who it was. So that's a little backstory about us.
Happy 5 years.
Woo! What'd you get us?
Yeah.
What'd you get us, you guys?
What'd
you get me?
What is that's a Taz reference.
That is.
What is the 5-year anniversary? Is it like wood? Have we
Oh,
gotten to
it doesn't do wood. I don't know.
Have we gotten to the precious metals phase yet? Where we actually get jewelry? Because like at first it's like paper.
It is wood.
Ah! I knew that.
That said, it's not your only option. The modern 5-year anniversary gift is silverware.
Who actually does that?
Not me.
Like, who's like, hey, happy 5 years, here's some new
some
spoons.
wood.
Although, to be honest,
Ooh.
at this point, we do need new silverware.
But you got wooden spoons. Does that cover both?
Yes. I've lost a lot of the spoons that we got as a wedding present. So to replace those spoons would be a good gift.
So yeah, get us some spoons.
Replace our spoons. I accidentally throw them away sometimes.
She does. We're very low on spoons. Very, very low.
We're very low on spoons in more ways than one.
That is also true. So, before we run out of spoons entirely, would you like to talk about For the Doomsday? Did you like my transition?
I liked it a lot!
All right, let's do this. You're doing 2 and 4?
I'm doing 2 and 4 because I don't like the pressure of starting it.
Okay. So, let's dive right in to For the Doomsday.
Oh, no, but that means I do have the pressure of ending it. Oh, I fucked up.
All right, so episode 1, which I have called Having a Ball.
That's pretty good. Can discuss.
Okay, so we open and they establish the hell out of this spaceship. I cut you off at the pass. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What I didn't say is that it's a donut ship.
It's not a donut.
There's a hole in it, so it's a donut.
That thing you... I can't. First of all, how are you saying that with such sincerity in your voice when you know you're only saying it to mess with me?
'Cause it's a donut.
We had an egg in a hole this morning. Is that a donut?
Yes. There's a hole in it, right?
It's toast with a hole in it. That doesn't make it
a donut.
That doesn't make it a donut. Something just having a hole in the middle of it doesn't make it a donut.
Yeah, it does.
If the ship looks like anything, by the way,
I was very surprised that you liked breakfast this morning because you don't like donuts.
If I'm ignoring you and carrying on. If the ship looked like...
Egg in a hole, by the way, is a piece of bread with a hole in it that you fry an egg in, and it's really good. It's a really good donut.
It's delicious. It is not a donut. If the ship looked like anything... Please don't interrupt me again. Uh-huh. If the ship looked like anything, it looks like a bunch of fast food, like takeout containers arranged...
In the shape of a donut.
Arranged, like all stuck together. It's
Uh-huh.
not even round.
It's around the hole?
Okay.
Are
we done?
This is a donut.
Your wedding ring is not a donut. You can't even eat it.
Ow.
Oh. Why did you do that?
That hurt.
I heard your teeth break.
Oh man, that's not good. Oh shit. Anyway, so donut ship.
It's not a donut.
It is a donut. Anything that has a hole in the center is a donut. A record, a donut.
Your brain?
A toilet paper holder.
Like the holder?
No, the cardboard tube.
The roll, man.
That's a donut.
A donut is fried dough and nothing else. Why are you even...
It's donut shaped. I'm not saying it is a donut. It's donut shaped.
But it's not even round.
It's around the hole.
Okay, we cannot... This is point 1, and we have to move on from it.
And fun fact, it's the second time we've done it.
It's the second time we've done it. It's not as funny.
No, our audio stopped recording.
We recorded a really funny thing about donuts.
And we just
it was
tried to
great.
recreate it
we
for you
loved
right
it,
here.
and it was rubbish. It's terrible.
And we didn't even get to say all the same jokes.
No. And your position the second time around is much more ridiculous.
Yeah, I was really going for it this time. So we establish the hell out of this donut ship as much as we have just done it just now. And then the TARDIS lands on the donut ship.
It's not a donut.
We might as well call it Duncan. Lands on the ship. They were supposed to land at Heathrow Airport, but they missed. They were going to drop Tegan off.
Tegan is very upset because she needs to get back to her job immediately, or they're going to fire her.
Yeah, but it's a time machine.
Yeah, which many people try to explain to her, but she's not having.
My problem is, even if it isn't a time machine, they've went on a whole ass adventure. She'd be late anyway. She would already be fired.
Well, I think she hadn't started working yet, right? So maybe she had some time.
She was on her way. She was worried about being late when their car broke down.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
She's seeing a whole-ass dude turn into another dude. She would be fired anyway.
Could you imagine, though, like, going on this, like, world-changing adventure where you get to go to space and stuff, and then being like, "Aw, man, it's Monday!
I gotta get to work.
I gotta get to work!"
No. So I don't get that at all. So the doctor checks the air and says it's not breathable. So he puts on this goofy ass helmet.
It's great. It basically is a motorcycle helmet with a respirator on front, but it's kind of in like pastels, isn't it?
Sure, I don't remember.
I think it is.
It reminded me of Ant-Man's helmet, but with you could see the face. Or those like real low rent rebels in Star Wars that have that like they just look like they got like this like white helmet on but with like a chin strap and that's it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Those guys. So he goes out into the Dunkin' Donut ship and explores a bit, and there is a giant floating orb keeping an eye on him.
Ooh, which I think if you've listened to the podcast before, you know how excited I was to see this guy. I think literally I just was like pointing at it and I was going, "That's me!"
Because you want to be a floating, angry hover orb.
Would love to be a floating, featureless orb. I think that would be great.
For Tony's previous thoughts on this, listen to our episode on Shada.
It had a name. What was it?
Shada?
No. The orb guy.
And this thing?
Yeah.
I think it's Manopticon, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. Opticon was definitely in it.
And it did start with an M. So.
Sure. Mopticon.
Monopticon.
I could Google it, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
I almost wrote it in my notes, and I was like, I don't give a shit.
It's not very important. The important thing that you need to know is that I loved it a lot.
It's basically like a security camera thing. It's like watching people. So.
Do you know what else happens at this point in the episode?
What happens at this point in the episode?
So much sexism for unknown reasons?
Yeah, Adric is just a misogynistic dick for no reason. Tegan's being impatient about, like, wanting to leave. And
not understanding the concept of a time machine.
And Adric is just like, women are this and women are that. They're so bad. Blah, blah, blah. Women. And Nissa's like, well, I'm the opposite of those things you said, and I'm a woman. He's like, but you're not a woman. You're a girl. It's like, what the fuck?
So it's only when you become 18 that I become unable to, like, that you stop being a person.
Oh, I think what it is like, she's, like, reading a math book or something. Too.
Yeah, because he's saying women are dumb. Because he's talking to Tegan, who, like, is from Earth, and not from, like, some society where you get special badges for being great at math or what. Like, Nyssa and Adric both have, like, future knowledge, and Tegan doesn't. Yet somehow, Adric still has future knowledge, but old world sexism.
That's fun.
Yeah.
He's not really from the future. He's from another planet.
But I'm saying, like, a more advanced planet. Although, really not. Like, there's not, like, advanced technology on...
I mean, there's a giant spaceship, and that's it.
But
Other than that, they got fruit.
Knowledge of math is always, like, a lot.
I guess. She's definitely from a more advanced technological thing.
Yes.
Anyway, he's a dick. And this is the first episode that I've not liked Adric. It's happened.
Literally,
it happened so fast.
During this scene, I was like, oh, is this why people were happy when he died? It's this, isn't it? Why is he doing this?
Yeah, like...
This is a bad episode for Adric. He is the worst in it. Just the worst. He is, like,
it does not stop either.
So openly misogynistic in this scene, and it's not the worst thing he does in this serial.
And also, like, 2 seconds later, Tegan's like, men, in a different scene. And it's like, who the fuck wrote this?
Why are we getting this, like, weird battle of the sexes nonsense? I don't want it. No thank you.
I feel like we haven't had something like this since the 3rd Doctor. Well, there's probably some sexism in the 4th Doctor.
Oh, for sure.
This show's sexist as hell. Let's stop watching it.
You can't watch things that have any problematic elements.
I think
or else you're problematic. And that's just what it's like to critique media.
It reminded me a bit of, like, when Jamie would say dumb shit, except the show was, like, aware.
The show was always like, Jamie, quit being an ass.
And he'd, like...
and then it would be fine. Yeah.
But this is Adric just being like, dumb broads! And then he just storms off.
Like, even if this was, like, a scene where it was like, this is written to show that Adric is just kind of an ass, why? There's no good reason for it.
I've heard of complaints about this era of Doctor Who of just having the companions not like, or just the Team TARDIS in general not like each other to create conflict, but it also
I do like that idea.
Yeah, but it also sort of backfires, and then it's like all they're doing is needlessly finding each other the whole time.
Well, and also, like, your characters still need to be likable.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be like, I'm creating conflict by making this one you can have unlikable characters. I'm not saying they only have to be likable, but, like, with a companion's function, they kind of do.
If you expect us to follow some characters along, there's got to be some reason to do that.
And if they're, like, just constantly an ass, it's like, wow, this is exhausting. Like, they're not, like, learning or growing or, like, even if, you can still do that, but, like, there has to be a reason. Like, it has to be, like, it's a showcase of them not learning. Or if it's just a character being an ass, but everyone else is, like, friends with them and stuff, and, like, there's no consequences for it, you're kind of like, why? But I do think it is an interesting idea to have conflict between Team TARDIS. Like, especially when there are, like, parts of Doctor Who where, like, people come and they choose to be on the TARDIS, and then there are people on Doctor Who end up there on accident, or end up there because they don't have anywhere else to go. So it makes sense when you have a team that, like, is all there for different reasons. Some because, like, they chose to be there. Some because they ended up there on accident. Some because their whole planet's dead. And, like, what else are they gonna do? Like, that they would have a lot of conflict. Because it's not, like, a group of people who are all like, yeah, we're a family. And that can be a boring choice in its own way.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think the difference is it's good when conflict comes from character.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not when it's just there to move the plot forward.
Right.
And I feel like this is a case of that. Specifically with Adric, because, like, this...
It's more like, hey guys, Adric is gonna do some dumb things this serial. Here's your heads up.
He feels like a different character now. Like, some of these aspects have definitely been here before.
He's a little bratty. He's always been kind of...
Yeah, and there's also, like, the vampire episode where he was like, maybe I'll betray the Doctor or whatever. But, like, I don't know, it just seems amped up to, like, 11. In a way that doesn't, like, just all of a sudden, too.
Yeah, that doesn't feel natural.
Right.
You're just like, what if we wrote him like an ass this time?
We'll get into more about that as we go along, but it gets worse. And also this episode seems oddly relevant to things that are going on in society now, but we'll get there. Let's get out of the first episode.
All right, take us out.
So they all put on goofy helmets now and go out. And the Doctor talks to the ball, the floating orb thing. He literally says that they're having a ball.
They're having a ball.
Because it's a ball, which if you put a hole in the center of that ball, you know what you'd have?
A ball with a hole in the middle.
A donut. The Doctor tells the ball that they're friendly and he would like to see their leader, and a door opens. So
yeah, it just works.
Yeah, okay, cool. And him and Tegan are heading over, and Adric's coming with them, and they're like, nah, you stay with Nyssa, and they just leave.
He does that for very little, like, reason?
Yeah, well, Adric's been a dick.
That's the thing. But the Doctor wasn't there when Adric was being a dick.
That's true.
But he's like, no, I think you need to stay with Nyssa and watch her. And he's like, why? Oh, I can't believe the Doctor made me stay here. I'm so mad. But then, like, later there's a scene with the Doctor and Tegan. I always have to think really hard before I say Tegan or Nyssa, because I'm afraid I'm going to get their names swapped.
Mixed up?
Yeah, and I don't know why. There's, like, a moment where he turns to Tegan and he's like, I think we made the right call by making sure we left the two of them alone. And it's like, why?
Why do you keep ditching them?
I was like, apparently the fifth Doctor has picked a favorite, and it's Tegan. But he also seems very annoyed by Tegan as well. And I have a theory, which is that Adric and Nyssa know too much.
And they'll upstage the Doctor?
Yeah, he'll be like, here's an interesting bit of technobabble, and they'll be like, yeah, we know. He's like, I gotta stick around with Tegan because she's more impressed.
Maybe he just ships Adric and Nyssa, and he's just trying to...
get them together? I do also... It's not that, by the way, that's icky. I wonder if, because Adric's supposed to be young, and Nyssa, I think, is supposed to be... I think Nyssa and Adric are supposed to be younger than Tegan and the Doctor. I mean, obviously than the Doctor, but...
Yeah, he's like at least 30.
At least! But I think the way that they are written, and it's weird because it doesn't always read. I think the way that they are written is that, like, Tegan and the Doctor are, like, the adults, and Nyssa and Adric are like the kids.
Which is weird, because Tegan is way more childlike than Nyssa is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because she's all the time like, wah! Wah!
A little bit, yeah.
Wah!
Okay, stop.
What?
No.
She cries and whines so much this serial.
She does.
And nothing drastically terrible is happening. It's like, calm down.
She's just done. Sometimes you're just done. Sometimes you're just done and ready to go home. I get that.
We get to see the aliens on this ship. They are 3 green people. They look like, well, the doctor calls them frogs, but they look more crusty. Their names are Monarch, Enlightenment, and Persuasion. And one of the first things they say when we see them is they say that Earthlings penetrated us, which,
Bad word choice.
Yep.
Phrasing.
Think before you write, Doctor Who writers. Unless they did that on purpose.
They did not.
You don't know. Maybe they did.
All right.
It's trying to slip some stuff past the censors. So the Doctor and Tegan meet these 3, Monarch, Enlightenment, and Persuasion, and they say that they're headed to Earth and want to know about Earth stuff, and Enlightenment is in particular concerned with fashion. I'm like, what's the fashion on Earth? Tell me about fashion. And the Doctor goes on a weird tangent about safety pin earrings?
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Is that an 80s thing? Do you know anything about safety pin earrings or 80s fashion in general?
No.
Tell me what you know.
I don't know.
Don't know any...
They seem to also, understand what a safety pin is, but not what earrings are. Why do they have safety pins?
You gotta put things together. Gotta stick them together somehow. Might as well be a safety pin.
All right.
But they're like, tell us about fashion. Tegan, draw us some fashion.
And then she draws the most magnificent picture in 5 minutes. It's beautiful.
Right? Like, what the hell? Why are you, not doing art for a living? Why are you an air flight attendant?
I mean, it's very difficult to make a living as a creative person. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. But she's real good.
She's a good artist.
It's almost like she took a picture from the costume design. Meanwhile, Nyssa is working by herself outside. I don't know, her and Adric are looking at some piece of tech that was on the ship, and Adric went inside the TARDIS to pout. And Nyssa is approached by a guy in a toga, and he just walks towards her very silently, and then she reacts in fear, and it's very slow. And I'm like, just say hello! Maybe say, hi, who are you? But instead, he just slowly walks towards her, not even menacingly, casually. And she's like, it's just a dude in a toga. Calm down. We will later learn that this guy's name is Bygone, and I like Bygone.
Bygone's a good name, too.
I thought it was spelled the way it sounds, but it's not.
How's it spelled?
Bigon.
Bygone.
Nah. Adric comes out to find Nyssa, and she is gone. And he says her name 30 times.
Nyssa! Nyssa! Nyssa!
That's the script. It's just Nyssa over and over and over again. So he can't find Nyssa, but he does find the Doctor talking to the Monarch. And the Monarch is like, hey, what's E equals MC squared? And Adric's like, what? What? Okay, here it is. And tells him about math. And they're like, great. That's the good stuff.
This is good stuff.
We're going to recruit you into our ranks later. Meanwhile, I think they get taken away to some quarters to hang out. And one of the booger dudes, the frog guys, tries to break into the TARDIS. There's a little laser gun that comes out and shoots lasers at the TARDIS. And it doesn't work. So he's like, oh well. And then wanders off. So they're all hanging out together in a place, in a little room. And Bygone comes and brings them food. And it all looks really good. And Adric asks for sodium chloride. Can someone pass the sodium chloride?
What a tool!
Maybe they don't have the word salt on his planet.
They do, and he's just a tool.
And then a bunch of people just start showing up. First off, we get an Australian Aborigine, which Tegan fucking knows his language. 2 things here. 1, why? 2, why isn't the TARDIS translating it?
It's presumably translating everything else. Because the Bygone is ancient Greek. I assume he's not speaking English.
Yeah, it's just that one dude who just speaks in whatever the language of old Australian Aborigines are. That's the only one that doesn't get translated, and it's the one Tegan knows because she's Australian.
There's also, like, no line about it. Like, literally the doctor's like, oh, you speak it? And Tegan's like, yeah. Like,
she knows all these languages, and she can draw.
She's very talented.
Who knew? Well, there's a bunch of other people from various cultures that come out. There's a Mayan who doesn't talk because she's going to remain silent until they get to Earth or whatever, I think.
Yeah. There's
an Asian dude. I forget his name. I wrote it down in the notes somewhere. I feel like there was more.
Those are the ones that I remember. I don't think there were more.
That's 4. Yeah, there's 4, right? Because that's the whole thing.
There were some Romans, I think, but they don't ever have... They don't, like, get introduced.
They don't have, like, a representative.
Yeah. You just see them later when they're doing the, like, talent show. Or maybe those people are supposed to be Mayans? I don't know.
I don't know enough about history.
They look like Romans to me.
Yeah, they're like gladiators. So all these people have showed up for dinner, and 2 more people join up, and it's the man and the woman that Tegan drew in their 80s fashion, which is a really fancy dress and a dude in a suit.
A green suit.
Well, I think what that was the pencil she was drawing in was green. No, they're green.
They're green.
That's why. It turns out it's Enlightenment and Persuasion, the 2 green people from earlier.
Enlightenment and Persuasion as, like, a bad guy duo is so good. I mean, I don't mean, like, specifically them. They're fine. The idea is very good.
The idea, and, like, I like their look as well. Like,
yeah.
I like their green outfits.
And they have a kind of... That delivery that's very, like, polished, but, like, slightly dangerous, and you don't know why.
And that's the cliffhanger is the drawings. They are real, and they are those people. Ooh! That's the end of episode 1. We are now into episode 2, which I have called the Bygone Era.
Oh, okay. So, Enlightenment and Persuasion basically explain, like, yeah, we took your drawings and we made it into it with science. Don't ask too many questions about it. It's science. They basically explained that they are on the ship because they are going to resettle on Earth.
Do they say that they're going to do it on Earth, or they're going somewhere?
I mean, they're saying they're going to Earth, and they're going to Earth because they need to resettle. And they have a population of 3 million, which Adric is like, that's way too many. There's no way there's that many people on this
donut ship.
It is not a donut ship. There's no way that there's this many people on this ship. And what's also...
Especially with a giant hole in the middle. Can't store things in a giant hole, you know? Didn't even say it was a donut.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Have you finished? May I continue on?
Yes, but it is a donut.
It's not a donut. Tegan, again, has a fit where she really, really, really wants to go home. The doctor tries to explain to her that it's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. He can get her home literally whenever. But in, like, the meantime, he has to kind of deal with the security camera. And he does this thing where he takes his hat and he puts it over the camera. And it just hangs there.
For at least 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It occurs to me that I'm going to have to go through these notes. Because sometimes I read your notes and I'm like, yeah, but what happened, though?
I don't know.
Because, like, the doctor gets out his sonic... Is it the screwdriver he's using to make that sound? Because they say, like, he has a sonic device. Is it actually the screwdriver?
I think so.
Because he covers up the camera and he's using the sonic screwdriver so that, like, they can have a conversation in private. Yeah. But I was kind of like, oh my gosh, the sonic screwdriver is being sonic.
And then they just talk things out. But, like, everything they talk about is stuff we already know. They're just reestablishing all of the facts.
Well, it's the very beginning of the 2nd episode. I mean, when these would have aired, you would have need to have done that.
Well, maybe not necessarily, because at this point in time, I don't know if you know this, they were airing twice a week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Still, though, that would have been, like, the common convention. It's so weird to think about, like, when stuff first moved over, like, to TV from radio, and it was, like, there's, like, early TV shows where, like, the action is being described as it's happening. Like, the amount of time that it takes you to figure out, oh, wait, we don't need to do that. We're writing for something that, like, there's a little bit of a lag between those 2 things.
I mean, it's even like, I've been reading a lot of Golden Age comics right now, and it's the same sort of thing of, like, going from, like, a novel to a more visual medium, but, like, every fucking panel has, like, describing what you're looking at. It's like, I can see that.
It's a comic book, only they don't know that. Like, it takes people a while to work these things out, and it only seems obvious to us in retrospect.
Do you think there's anything like that we're doing now?
Yes, and the idea of that drives me crazy.
Like, we're like, oh, but you would need that thing, right? What would we need to get rid of?
I don't know.
Oh, man, that makes me feel, like, existential and weird. Like, is there something we're doing in podcasts that we shouldn't be doing in podcasts? Like, we're still in the early stages of podcasts, I feel like, right? Is there something we're doing that in the future people will be like, oh my God,
is that it's like not that much different
than radio?
I mean, the thing that we shouldn't be doing in podcasting is making a podcast. The thing we shouldn't be doing in podcasts is that we have no business doing it. So we cut to the bad guys have a little bit of a chat, and they talk about...
They're basically just being like, by the way, we're evil.
By the way, in case we've kind of been very polite up until this point, and we just want to establish, definitely up to no good. And they talk about a period in their history called the Flesh Time.
They say it far too often.
It's very bad, and they say it a lot. The Flesh Time.
And whenever they're talking about it, it's sort of like, oh, we don't do that anymore. It's a remnant of the Flesh Time.
That's a primitive thing that happened in the Flesh Times. So without saying too much, it's like, so these guys are all robots, right?
Yeah.
But they used to not be robots. And that would be the Flesh Time.
Sure.
The time of flesh. Just the worst thing you could have called it. I was waiting for you to move on and then realized that it was me who had to do it.
We're stuck here, baby. We're stuck here in the Flesh Time.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah.
We gotta get out.
With me in the Flesh Time.
So,
oh, it's Flesh Time, baby.
Team TARDIS all kind of
Which is worse, Donut Ship or Flesh Time?
Ooh. Donut Ship infuriates me more. But Flesh Time is worse to hear.
It's Flesh Time and the Donut Ship. I combined them.
Oh! I'm in hell.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
I'm in hell. So...
I'm sorry. Continue.
Team TARDIS basically all kind of like recap everything up until this point for you. The Doctor and Tegan ditch Adric and Nyssa again. Like
they're like walking off.
They're all together.
And like Adric and Nyssa like are walking in the front, and the Doctor and Doctor just goes, hold up, and then turns around and leaves them.
And it's like, man, those guys were really getting on my nerves. I don't know why he is like consistently ditching the two of them in this serial. It's really hard to read it as anything other than a slight. Tegan and the Doctor, basically like the boogers. No, what are their names? What are the frogs called?
The urban cons or something like that.
Oh gosh,
Urbanax.
I don't remember what they're called what they were like referred to as at all. I remember their names, but
the Doctor calls them frogs.
The Doctor calls them frogs. That's probably why I don't really remember.
Sounds like a slur.
It does. There would be a joke about that if it was new.
I think it's Urbanax. I could be wrong.
I don't remember hearing that word ever, even one time.
I can look it up.
Anyway, Monarch, the head frog, is in his office and he says, like, distract them. And I think Monarch is actually the one who was like, separate. Monarch is the one who said to separate them.
Is he?
Yeah, he says, separate the Doctor from the boy and the girl. And nowhere in that sentence mentions the existence of Tegan whatsoever. He literally says, separate the Doctor from the boy and the girl. And just ignores Tegan's existence. I don't know.
He calls them children a lot. They seem roughly the same age. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why it was like this episode that I was like, are Nyssa and Adric supposed to be significantly younger? I think they are. I mean, Adric definitely is, and Adric definitely reads as a kid. I do think Nyssa's supposed to be fairly young.
Yeah, because she's like princess or whatever.
Yeah.
Urban cons.
When did they say that? Anyway, so Monarch says separate them, and basically Monarch is so weird because Nyssa and Adric are exploring the spaceship and like learning stuff, and then like his henchmen are like, should we stop him? And he's like, nah.
We'll get him eventually.
Yeah, and he's like, nah, let him figure out what's going on here. But in the meantime, distract the Doctor. So put on, he just calls it like the entertainment. But it's basically like a talent show. Like each cultural group that's represented there, like, does a different thing.
Yeah, what do we got? We got like
the Mayans have a dance.
Yeah. There's also the Aborigines have a dance as well.
Which is also the first time
my favorite one.
that I realized that it was like that many people. Mm-hmm. Like before that, you're like, oh, so he's like picked up like 4 humans. And I think they say like he's gone to Earth
4 times.
4 times and picked people up. But like when they do like the show, you're like, oh, it's a lot of them. I thought it was just those 4 guys.
There's dragon dancing. You got the giant dragon thing over you.
Yeah.
There's gladiators fighting, and there's wrestling. I think those are all of them. And the urban cons have no culture because they're above that. That's from the Flash
for
time.
Primitive people is to have culture.
Monarch calls Bygone into his office and is basically like, stick around the doctor. Let me know stuff about him, because they've not been able to get much info on him because he's been sneaky. The doctor's being sneaky. And Bygone is kind of like sassy about it. And they're like, hey, we gave you free will. We can take it away. So don't.
Okay, so that's what, at this point, has it been dropped at like how old Bygone would have had to have been?
I think it's been like questioned, but it hasn't been.
Because everybody there, I mean, they've got people from all these drastically different time periods. And so it's like, what's the deal? And I think the doctor kind of speculates like it could be like generations, like they like grabbed a bunch of people and they grew up on the ship, but it's not their robots. So
I think they might have also thought like maybe it was like time hopping as well. They visited 4 different eras by like time travel.
Yeah, but they did not. So Adric and Nyssa are just wandering around this ship, which doesn't bother Monarch at all, I guess. They see some cool plants.
Monarch is very inactive this whole serial.
I don't think he gets up out of his chair but like twice.
And then he goes right back and sits down. He does like one thing. He's like, oof, I'm tired.
That was a lot. Again, very relatable. I've got enough energy to do one thing in a day. And then once I do, it's like the worst when you have like an errand to run. Like literally if I have to go like to the post office, that's my whole day. One time I had to go to the post office and then a friend called me and asked if I wanted to hang out. And I didn't know how to be like, it wasn't the post office. It was something like, the post office is fast. It was something like grocery shopping. And I didn't know how to be like, no, I already did a thing today. Ask me about tomorrow. So I don't have any errands to run tomorrow, so I can hang out with you. Tegan is like freaking out. Like the doctor and Tegan are like watching this little talent show and Tegan is like, what is happening? She first of all like doesn't trust those guys at all. She's like, are they okay? Are they going to kill us? And the doctor's like, probably not. She's like, well then why are we just sitting here watching this and like pretending to be having a good time? And the doctor's like, because it's the best course of action. Like it's the least likely thing to make us dead. None of which I think comforts Tegan at all.
Also relatable.
Adric and Nyssa, while they're exploring the ship, I think they reach a place because they had turned when they met the frogs for the first time. The frogs are like, oh, you guys need oxygen, and like turned on the oxygen, and that's why they haven't been wearing those goofy helmets the whole time. But while they're exploring, they like reach a place where there isn't any oxygen, and Monarch's like, good, let them remember that I can turn off the oxygen in this place anytime I want. So they have to put the helmets back on, which is good because they were a good prop, and I was happy to see him again.
And also gives us a clue because they walk into this next area, and there's some dudes working on stuff, but they don't need any oxygen. So they're probably not people. They're probably robots. Also, they're just completely ignoring them.
And they have these little metal discs on their hand. And like the most awkward scene happens where like they're just sort of typing away or working on something. They're all like mindlessly at these little workstations typing away. And Nyssa keeps trying to like pull the disc off this one guy's hand, but it's so... I don't know how to describe how awkward it is.
It's awkward.
I don't know. Like, she's doing it so... Like, it lasts for too long. It's too slow. And it's like she's in another person's personal space for too long without any... I don't know. It made me feel very bad. Like, she tries to pull it off his hand, but, like, can't because he moves his hand forward. But he's not, like, fighting her. And she's, like, not trying hard enough to pull it off because it would be very easy. But she needs to not be able to do it. The whole thing made me feel weird.
Those things also reminded me of the things from Robots of Death. The little, they had similar tracker thingies. I forget what they were called. Death markers? Life mark? I don't remember what they were called.
I don't remember either. I cannot answer that question. So we cut back to Tegan and the doctor watching this. At this point, it's gladiators fighting. And the doctor's like, I've got a plan! And pretends to pass out. Which is... I will say this is like the thing that I know about the Fifth Doctor. He's very good at like pretending to be sick.
What was the purpose of this plan? Was it to see if they reacted, or because they don't? No one reacts to it except for Persuasion. Persuasion comes over and he's like, "You okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just got a little lightheaded." Like, I don't entirely know the purpose of this plan.
Maybe he just genuinely got a little lightheaded.
I don't think so, because he's like, "Hey,
I think-
Tegan, watch this." Then fainted.
I think the point was to get Persuasion's attention.
For what?
I don't know. I'll read what happens next and see if it starts to make sense. No, it doesn't. So, because the next thing that happens is that, like, a gladiator gets stabbed and Tegan loses her shit because that's very upsetting. Like, she runs off and starts crying. And poor, I think Bygone, it's very cute. Like, he runs to, like, go comfort her and he's like, it's not what it seems. And, like, that's kind of the reveal that they are all, in fact, robots. Is that, like, that guy comes out into the room where Nyssa and Adric are sneaking around and, like, his shirt's all ripped up, but they, like, repair him.
Yeah, they put him in this box, and like this glass case comes down, and it glows, and then his skin is fixed. Didn't fix his shirt, just the
skin underneath. The shirt's just gonna have a hole in it now. That's what happens when you lose, I guess.
And then they grab Adric and Nyssa.
Who does?
The gladiators and stuff in that room.
Oh, because they're trespassing?
Oh yeah, well, I think it's because Monarch's like, all right, they've had enough fun.
They've officially seen too much. I don't know why I let this go on for so long. Bygone says, like, in an attempt to comfort Tegan, explains that he's a robot. Like, in an attempt to comfort her, opens up his chest, peels back his skin, and is like, see, it's fine.
I got him full of just nothing.
Now that looked really good.
Yeah.
I
was legitimately like, how did they do that? Was it like he was leaning forward on top of a thing?
Yeah, it didn't look like it was just sitting right on top of his chest. Like, it didn't look like there was way too much space. That legitimately looks really good. Then he takes his face off. Not as good.
Because his face doesn't move upwards. They just do a wipe.
Like a wipe. Yeah, he pulls out this, like, chip, and he's like, that's me in there. It's like, I'm not, this body, but I'm on this chip.
I would not just be pulling that shit out of my chest all willy-nilly. This is me. Oh.
No. Anyway, that's the end of episode 2, and I don't have to be in the driver's seat anymore. It's exhausting. Don't you get thirsty?
Oh, hell yeah. That's the end of episode 2. We're now into episode 3, which I've called The Time of the Flesh.
It's so bad.
Tegan thinks being a robot is evil.
She says that, and the doctor just sort of makes a face at her like it's the dumbest thing he's ever heard, but also doesn't challenge her.
Can we talk about Peter Davison for a second?
Yeah.
He's real good this serial.
Oh, I loved him in this serial.
This is the first serial he's gotten to be the doctor, really. Because last time in Castrovalva, he was just like...
He was asleep for a lot of it.
Or, who am I? Just being all the other doctors and not being himself. So this one, I don't know, he's very, like, I don't know how to describe him, sneaky, but, like, fun.
He feels a lot like 2.
He does some interesting things with his eyes. They're very wide the whole time.
Are they?
Like, there's something mischievous behind them.
That's the thing. So, like, the 5th Doctor is one of the, like, softer doctors, but that's why I say he's has a lot of 2 vibes to me. Because, like, 2 kind of pretends to be dumb.
I mean, this doctor feels like he pretends to be nervous.
Yeah! He's doing, like, the same thing of, like... Because there are times where he's, like, that it falls. Like, in this serial. Where he's, like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, yep, there he is. There's the doctor.
Very, very good.
That person is definitely still there. You know what I mean? Even though this is a doctor who's, like... nicer and softer or whatever. I do think a lot of the times he is, and I think this is a conscious choice, because I hear a lot of criticism about 5, and you can argue, whether or not this is a good choice or an effective choice. I do think, like, it is a character who is, like, being low key until they need not to be, which is like an interesting take on the doctor. If somebody who's normally very, especially following, like, 4, to switch it up to somebody who's, like, it's really fun to me, I think, when you have a character who's... I made you read, like, the Queen Thief books, Jen, where it's like, it is a reveal that he is kind of the mastermind that he is.
Right.
And he spends a lot of the book kind of being this, like, idiot. I like that dynamic a lot, of, like, somebody who's quietly plotting. And so, yeah, that's a trope that I enjoy, and that's why I think, part of the reason why I think I like 5.
He's very good.
He does it a lot in this particular serial.
Honestly, he carries the serial a lot because the pace is somewhat slow.
It's very slow.
So Adric and Nyssa get pulled into Monarch's office to basically, he's like, hey, would you like to join my multi-level marketing scheme? And he's just like saying like, just the worst shit. Oh, there has to be a class system, right? There has to be a lower class and an upper class, and the lower class has something to aspire to, or some such bullshit.
Well, it's not that the lower class is something to aspire to, because they're literally like robots. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that they're kind of like, Nyssa's like, they're
need structure and
slaves.
order. Yeah.
And it's like, but they are just robots, right? Like
They don't.
They're machines.
They do have personalities and stuff.
Do they?
Some of them do, yes.
No, but I'm saying the ones that work don't.
No.
That makes them machines.
Yeah, but I think they are like, they work, some of them work better because they have emotions. Without the emotions, they'll get like restless and weird, and they need like leaders, so that's why there's like a specific one for each group, maybe.
No, that's what I'm saying. There are some people with personality, and there are some people who don't, and the ones that don't have people in them. They're not people, they're just robots. They're just empty robots.
I don't remember. I zoned out a lot during this one. But yeah, they are just describing their evilness.
And Adric's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. This guy's smart.
This is how the alt-right happens.
This is a serial about Adric getting recruited to the alt-right.
Exactly. That's what it really is. Well, you're joking, but it is.
Somehow.
Also, I just want to say there's a bit where I think somebody mentions love, and the Monarch's like, love? What is love? Baby, you don't hurt me. No, but Enlightenment says, oh, love is the exchange of two fantasies. And I was like, that's pretty good. That's a good line. But yeah, Nyssa's like, I will never bow to tyranny. And Adric's like, shh, no, this is good.
Actually, I think I'm just learning about tyranny now, and it sounds great.
You wouldn't know. You're a girl.
There's a weird thing about this scene, too, and like in the way that Adric is speaking. Like, in his delivery, it seems like he's just saying what Monarch wants to hear to, like, get close to him. Nope.
No. He legit thinks this is a good idea.
He thinks this guy is great.
Bygone, meanwhile, all he's doing is like, oh, finally, some people I can tell all the shit to. This is what they're up to. They're wanting silicon and carbon, and they've made this poison that they can throw it on, like, organic material, and it'll shrink it. Shrink it real good. They're bad guys.
Nice.
They're planning on shrinking everybody and taking over the earth. And he also wants to use our brains and stuff to work on this stuff to make faster than light travel so that he can travel back in time to before the Big Bang, where he expects to meet himself because he thinks he's a god.
The thing about Bygone and why he's such a good character is that he's saying this, and without, like, saying he thinks that this is ridiculous, that's what his delivery says. But somehow it's all very, like, bland?
Bland and endearing.
Yeah, but, like, he's like, you know, he wants to, like, very matter-of-factly, but while he's saying it matter-of-factly, there's just, like, so much contempt.
He's basically rolling his eyes the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, these dumb motherfuckers have put together a plot that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
He's great.
I liked Bygone. Bygone was cool. Then Adric proceeds to also be very expository and tells Monarch, like, fucking everything.
Just everything. It's like, so that's the Doctor. He's a Time Lord. He has got TARDIS. It's a ship that travels in time.
His social security number is 493.
I've got his credit card number if you want that.
And this is like, hey, what? Stop. He's like, no, the Doctor will love this guy.
He tells Nyssa, this man's been very polite.
So Monarch's like, this Doctor sounds like a real cool dude. Also, I like the Monarch, too. He's so, like, not quite gleeful, but very, like, oh, that sounds neat. But, like, while saying the most fucked up shit.
There is something about the idea of using civility as a cover for evilness.
Yeah.
Which just rings very true, I think.
Oh, yeah, this guy seems nice enough. But he's not.
Yeah.
He's really bad. So, but he's like, yeah, this Doctor guy seems pretty cool. I want to see his TARDIS. Go get the Doctor. I want to talk to him. So Adric leaves to go get the doctor, and then Nyssa starts to follow him, and he's like, not her. Take her to the hypnotizing mines. I don't know.
Take her to the hypnotism mines.
They basically eventually put her in this, like, thing, and they put this helmet on her that's basically going to take all of her memories and turn her into a robot. They put the thing on her, and it makes it look like she has big old googly eyes, and she looks like the sewer urchin from the Tick cartoon.
Yeah, it's a good look for her, too, somehow.
Meanwhile, the doctor is being given a tour of the ship by Bygone, and I think this is when he's, like, fucking with all the balls as well. He's, like, spinning them and stuff, the floating hover orbs. But he's basically like, here's where they make the poison. Here's where they do this bad thing. Here's where they do that bad thing. There are danger frogs. And also, at some point, Tiga just ran off because she's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going back to the TARDIS. I'm getting out. And she bumps into Adric, and Adric has the TARDIS key, and they get into a fight about
Adric
it.
doesn't have the TARDIS key. She does.
She does? Oh. Adric
Yeah,
tries to
because
stop her.
the doctor gave it to her. Because the doctor only likes Tegan.
And all she wants to do is leave.
So
She's gonna leave.
she literally takes her key and is like, she's trying to convince Adric to leave, and Adric's like, no, I just met this very nice man, and he has some very good ideas about how to run society.
He wants to get all the girls out of gaming. I think it's a great idea.
So Tegan's like, well, I've got the key, so I'm just gonna go, bye. And that's what they, like, literally have a fist fight over the key. And, like, Tegan knocks him out. He ends up on the floor.
And then she runs to the TARDIS and can't really do anything because she doesn't know how to operate it. She, like, gets the manual out at one point, too, which we've seen before, I feel like.
But I thought it wasn't real before.
I don't remember. The show's been on for too long. But there's also just a scene where she's just, like, crying.
She's just sobbing. She's just at the TARDIS console sobbing, and it's like, you're in the TARDIS, so you're safe.
Right.
Also, it's very rude of you to just... I mean, I get, like, being afraid and wanting to leave, and, like, that makes sense, especially because, like, she's not somebody who was like, let's go on adventures. She was somebody who, like, wandered into the TARDIS and then, like, almost died a whole bunch. It totally makes sense for her to be like, this is terrible, I want to leave, I don't like this. But, like, I don't... Like, if you leave, if you take the TARDIS, then you've stranded them there, and you're like, I don't care. And also, like, if you're in the TARDIS, just stay in the TARDIS. Like, if you're done with the adventure, and you are like, screw this, like, the TARDIS has a swimming pool. Like,
right.
Just hang out for a little bit, and wait for them to be done.
But then again, anytime she's been wandering around inside the TARDIS, she's also been like, I'm lost!
That's true. That historically has not worked out great for her either. So yeah, no, the more I think about it, the more it's like, no, this makes sense.
She's just not having a good time.
It's been like a really rough, like, how much time do you think she's been on the TARDIS for?
3 episodes.
But I mean, like, call it 3 weeks?
Yeah, maybe.
Call it a month?
She was in 4 episodes of Legopolis, 4 episodes of Castrovalva, and now we're in episode 3 of this, so that's 11 episodes. She's definitely really late, right?
She's so late for her job, for sure.
But yeah, honestly, she's just not having a good time at all. That's part of the reason why I'm, like, not super into Tegan. It's like, it's not as fun with someone who just, like, full on, hardcore hates being here.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone who's having fun.
But that's the opposite of what you've always said. That you wanted to do... You had a character.
Yeah.
Who, like, did not want to be on the TARDIS.
No, I think he likes the idea of traveling and all that stuff. But the thing was, he didn't like the scary stuff. That I am fine with. But she just doesn't seem to enjoy it at all, in any way whatsoever.
In any capacity.
But meanwhile, the Doctor and Bygone are still going on their tour, and they come in and they see the people putting Nyssa in the hypnotism thing. And Bygone says, "By Zeus!" And they rescue her. I don't know why his delivery of "By Zeus!"
I'll tell you why. It's the most animated he is in 4 episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
He's so, like, low-key when he gives this, like, you're like, oh god, what?
So they pull her out, and the people putting her in, it's the Asian guy, Lin Futu. It's in my notes. He's like, hey, you can't do this. This is bad. He goes and rats them out to Monarch. And the Doctor and Bygone are like, he won't do anything. So they just sort of hang around in there still. And Nyssa takes the sonic screwdriver and does something to a pencil with it. I didn't understand this at all. Adric finally wakes up and runs back to the doctor. He's also with them now. And he's like, Tegan ran off and she's all weird now. And then because they've been ratted out, they're surrounded by a bunch of robots, basically. They're going to kill the doctor. And
that's like the only time where Adric is like, hey, wait, what? But that doesn't actually seem very nice, though. Now I'm confused. Now I'm conflicted.
And he expresses all this in his very great dialogue, which is, no! 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 Also, meanwhile, Tegan has started the TARDIS and it dematerialized, and we don't know where it goes to. But the cliffhanger is they're going to decapitate the doctor. Like, dude pulls up a sword, and that's the end of episode 3, and we're now into episode 4, which I have called The Dragon Dance Deception.
Okay, so the thing with the pencil is that it caused a short circuit
in the robot guy.
In the robot.
So he just freezes holding up the sword. But how?
Adric...
She's like, the graphite!
Adric's response to this is, aw, man, if you guys are gonna kill people, I won't join you. He's not like, whoa, these guys are actually clearly very evil. This was a bad idea. He's like, oh, no, I won't join you if you kill the doctor. Not even people. He like specifies the doctor.
I think he says, my friends, which that's...
So he like doesn't have a problem with them trying to kill other people.
Right.
Just no one he knows.
Those girls in gaming.
Then the doctor's asked to empty his pockets. The bit does not go on for nearly as long as I would have liked.
It's partially to set up something that'll happen later.
To set up the dumbest thing. And guess what? I think it's good. He has a cricket ball in his pocket. Remember that. We'll use it later.
I couldn't tell what any of the rest of the stuff was.
He says he had like a little bit of string because they're like, what is all this stuff? And he's like, this is a cricket ball. This is some string. This is, there were only like 2 other things in his pocket, but I don't remember what they were. Like, anytime you do that bit, he has to have just so much stuff in his pockets. Just so much. And at least like some of it should be like some dumb sci-fi shit.
And gum.
Yeah, where you're like, this is candy that makes you turn blue or whatever. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything.
So you just went Willy Wonka?
Yeah. But it's gotta be some, like, dumb sci-fi thing. The idea that the doctor's pockets are bigger on the inside, and B, that he's such a dumb child that they're full of the dumbest stuff. Always, always, always a good bit. And I was really sad when he, like, turned out his pockets. He only had, like, 4 things in it, and it was just to establish the cricket ball. I was like, I fully expected that to be, like, 10 minutes of the episode. The TARDIS, we figure out where it dematerialized to. It's just outside of the ship. It actually can't leave. So, like, that's why they got there in the first place, was because there was something with magnets. There was some reason why, like, the TARDIS got pulled into the ship, and it can't go too far outside of the ship because of magnets.
I mean, I think it literally is a magnetic force.
It's a magnetic, yeah. So the Monarch's mad because he wanted to behead the doctor and he didn't get to.
He's all like, naughty, naughty.
But then he doesn't, like, try to kill him again.
No, he's just like, we're going to put you back in your quarters.
He could have just tried again. He just gave up.
Though, to be fair, for some reason, he's more upset at Nyssa and sends her off to be sedated.
Yeah, because she's a woman, I guess.
She knows nothing about gaming. I'm just gonna keep doing that joke.
There are other jokes you could make.
Yeah, but it's the only one I can think of right now.
All right. The doctor, who's not dead, tells Adric...
He takes the hat off of the ball.
And is like, you know what? I've changed my mind. You're right. Monarch is a great guy. Adric, who literally just watched him almost behead his best friend, is like, see? I knew you'd come around. He is a great guy. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you came around. Until, like, the doctor gets to a place where he knows they can't be heard. And then he just starts really, like, laying into Adric and letting him know what a dumbass he is.
Yeah, it's great.
And Adric is so confused. He doesn't understand that that's what just happened. He's like, but you just said that he was a great guy. And you were really getting it. He's like, yeah, when they could hear me. Are you serious? The guy literally just tried to kill me 5 seconds ago, and you still think he's a great guy? What else does he have to do? What else does he have to do? Oops, I started talking about something else there for a minute. I got lost in my emotions for a hot second. Then...
Oh, boy.
Then Tegan, we cut back to Tegan in the TARDIS, and she's pretty much just given up. She's throwing the manual on the ground and stomps on it. She's really throwing a fit.
Oh, by the way, I also think, I didn't put this in the notes, but I think they've also taken Bygone to be deprogrammed.
Oh, yes, because he has screwed up for the last time.
Yeah, because they're about to go save Bygone, so that
you're gonna have to read this next one because I don't know what it means.
So the Doctor finally does get Adric back on his side, and he's like, I need to know for a fact that you're not a dumbass. So are you with me or are you not? And Adric's like, yeah, I'm with you. So they go around and basically talk to the other robot people and explain, hey, this is the situation. We need to take these people down. So they go around basically recruiting. They go and talk to the Asian dude, Lin Futu. I don't remember. It's not on the screen anymore. And he's like, yeah, I'll help you. So what they do, that they're going to get Bygone back. And what they do is they hide out underneath the dragon costume thing and during the dance. And they also get like a bunch, everybody, all the other cultures involved as well. And so they do this dance thing and they get Bygone sneaked out underneath that, and they go and they get him turned back on, basically. They fix him up. And then everyone starts coming out and doing their presentation all at once. Also, there's a great scene before that happens where it's just the three bad guys watching the presentation on their TV screen. And at that point, it was just wrestling. So it looked like they were just watching wrestling on TV. But yeah, everybody starts doing their presentation at once. The bad guys are like, what's going on? This has never happened before.
When we watched this one on the live stream, Chris Cherry said, oh no, it's mildly chaotic. Because it is. It doesn't seem very distracting. And they still actually look and they're like, oh, the Doctor is gone. They're not in their seats anymore. So it's not that distracting. Then the glorious thing of this serial happens. The reason why this serial exists. The spacewalk. The Doctor gets, and it's great. It's this big, dumb-looking orange rope. I don't know why the fact that it's like so big and so bright and orange. Like it needs to be, when they put it like over the space background.
Right.
For it to like stand out as much as it does. So it's like, it looks like something out of a cartoon. This big orange rope. And the TARDIS is like hovering just outside of the ship. The Doctor's plan is to just
float out to it.
Because he can last, 16 seconds in sub?
Not 16, it's like, I think he says like 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Oh, okay.
He does have the helmet on, but.
He has the helmet on so he can breathe. But it's so goofy. He jumps out of there and like doesn't quite get to the TARDIS, and so he has to like pull himself back in.
Well, it's not that he doesn't quite get out there. It's like Adric is like helping him out because he's in like a full bodysuit, and like Adric gets attacked by Persuasion.
Right, so he's like trying to get back in.
And then he gets back in and he fights Persuasion, rips off his circuit thing, and chucks it into space.
And Persuasion has to pause in this like weird disco pose. He's got one hand flat behind his back and one like extended out, and it looks very uncomfortable.
And he stays there for the rest of the scene.
For the rest of the scene. It could not have been great.
He's staying alive.
Then that's Persuasion down. Then Enlightenment. Like Doctor goes back out and tries again, and Enlightenment takes the rope and just throws it out into space. And so the Doctor's kind of screwed, except he's got a cricket ball in his pocket. A cricket ball!
Also, Adric attacks Enlightenment and kills her as well.
And then she has to freeze frame in a nice pose too. So the Doctor takes the cricket ball and throws it towards the spaceship, and the momentum of that action pushes him back towards the TARDIS.
Not quite.
No?
The ball hits the spaceship, bounces back at him, and then he catches it, and that throws him back.
That throws him back, which is all very good and very smart. And
Adric cheers. He throws his hands up like, yeah! But he's in this like dumb astronaut costume.
Very good. Very smart. Some very solid, high-minded sci-fi action that is happening in this scene, and everybody loved it. And I don't think anyone will argue with me about this.
I mean, I liked it. I think it was better than the thing that it was reminding me of, which was that first 10th Doctor one where he throws was it apple or something?
Oh, the apple, and it just hits the button on the thing that makes the cliff fall? What's that for?
I don't know.
What function does that serve?
But we'll get there.
Okay.
So he gets back on this TARDIS, and TARDIS is back onto the ship. There is a moment here where they run out of the TARDIS, and this is the first time Monarch's ever gotten out of his fucking chair.
The whole time.
And he runs and he's like, Doctor! And then they run off in the chaos. And the TARDIS doors are just open.
He could have gone into the TARDIS, but he doesn't.
Instead, he just goes back to his seat and sits down and watches them. He's like, it'll take care of itself. What is the weird breathing thing that the Doctor was doing?
The air is turned off, and everybody, they only have so many helmets. They have one less helmet than they have people. And the Doctor's like, it's fine, Time Lord biology thing. I can go into like a meditative trance and need less oxygen. But the way Davison decides to convey this information that he is in a trance, which is making him use less oxygen, is to do this.
Which seems like it would use more.
For like 2 solid minutes too. It's just a Doctor like, and you're like, I don't like listening to this. I'm sure you guys didn't like listening to me do it just now. But imagine that I didn't stop. Imagine that the next 2 minutes of the podcast was just that sound.
Let's make that the next 2 minutes. Let's do it.
I will not. Listen, because I care about our listeners. I won't do that.
I edit this. I can make you do it. And we're back.
Oh, don't do it. Very few people already listen to us.
You will never know. You don't listen to this podcast. So
anyway, that happens. Bygone changes the course of the ship back to whatever planet they're all from.
Earth? No.
The frogs.
Urban cans.
Sure. The Doctor basically gets some of the poison and really he tosses it to Monarch, and Monarch shrinks. What happens next seems to imply that he's not dead, just very small. Because he puts his helmet on him, and he's like, he'll need the oxygen. So he's not dead, he's just very small, which is good.
It's the second villain that the Doctor's just shrank after the tax dude.
And they kind of are like, how did you know he was organic? And I don't remember what the Doctor says.
I don't remember either.
He's like, he had to tell. It was like, he had too many flesh time emotions. I think basically it was like the arrogance, like thinking that you're a god. That's a mistake that people make, not a mistake that machines make. Which is very like, of course the person who was like, we're gonna do this thing and we're all gonna become robots, like, didn't do it himself. Except that, like, doesn't that make him very old?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if they're aliens. Maybe he just lives that long. That's pretty much it. Well, no, that's not it. Because this episode ends weird. They, like, all get back on the TARDIS, and they're like, we're headed to Heathrow. Tegan, please calm down. We're leaving for your job now.
Okay.
And then Nyssa passes out.
She just goes, oh no! Thump.
And that's the end. And that's the cliffhanger. Why?
I don't know.
And it's not, like, I'm not saying that it's, like, a bad cliffhanger. It would make more sense if, like, Nyssa had, like, if it had been set up at all. Instead, it's just like, it's the end and Nyssa passed out. Okay, bye.
I know the reason why.
Why?
Because I saw it on Wikipedia.
Are you going to tell me?
Sure. So there was initially this idea of getting rid of Nyssa.
Okay. So wait, was she just going to, like, pass out and be dead at the start of the next one?
No. Like, some scripts were written out of order and stuff. But, like, there was an idea of not having Nyssa continue on the show, and Peter Davison was like, no, I like her, she should stick around. So they're like, oh, okay. But they had already written the next episode.
Oh, when she wasn't in it?
She wasn't in it. And instead of putting her in it, they just threw this in so that she could be resting on the TARDIS for the next serial.
Why? Why put it at the end of this one? Why not just put it at the beginning of the next one?
Cliffhanger! It reminded me of that time that back in 1 where the Doctor was just like, ah! And then, like, that was the cliffhanger. And we're like, what the fuck? And then the next episode, it was like, I got a toothache.
Oh, God, I forgot. Oh, that era of the show is very good. It's kind of like in the first Doctor era, when like the first Doctor, and actually I think the second Doctor's done it too, where they would just be like, anyway, nice adventure, I'm taking a nap because it's time for my vacation. So I'm just gonna sleep for like these next 2 episodes. Sorry we're in mortal danger.
But that's it. That's the end of For to Doomsday. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts.
Where comedy and commentary collide.
Thunder Talk brings a unique variety show style twist
to the fandom podcast genre.
We drop music from some of today's hottest up-and-coming artists.
We discuss topics of social and political relevance.
And deliver our sideways take on the world at large.
If stand-up comedy,
NPR,
The Millennium Falcon,
and classic MTV had a baby,
it would be Thunder Talk.
Thunder Talk is part of the ESO network. Find us at thundertalk.org and on all podcasting platforms.
And we're back. Toni, do you know what time it is?
I believe it is the time in the podcast where we do the bit that we do right before we do final thoughts. And the bit it involves me saying, you ask me what time it is, I say, oh, it's 3:27, and then you say no in the podcast, and then I say, oh, I don't know, because I kind of want to see how long I can do the bit before you get frustrated and make me stop. And we do it every time. It's never a new bit or a different bit. It's the same bit every time. And sometimes I think that leads itself to like a sense of consistency and security. Familiarity. Yeah, exactly. That's something that like people look forward to.
And then get nostalgic about.
Yeah, if like we deviate from it, you're like, I kind of miss it. But sometimes I think it just is lazy. Also, it's time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I think that this serial has some good things going on for it. I don't think the plot's bad. I think it's pretty good. It's weirdly relevant. We get to see the 5th Doctor for the first time really get to be the Doctor. I thought that was really good. I really liked the side characters. I liked Bygone, and I really liked the Monarch. Persuasion and Enlightenment were both cool, but they maybe could have used a little more.
Persuasion and Enlightenment have such like a cool vibe happening, but they don't get to do anything. So yeah. They're just like aesthetically very pleasing and not functional at all.
The things that I don't like about this episode or this serial, boy, is it slow. It's very slow. There's not a lot going on. There's a lot of just like, we're standing around talking about what's going on, or we're just hanging out, not even really doing anything, where we're just wandering around this ship. We get like multiple scenes. Like there's Adric and Nyssa wander around the ship by themselves.
Yeah.
There's the scene where the Doctor is taken around the ship by Bygone. Did we need both of those scenes? So, like, that I'm not super into. And Adric is a dick now.
This is why everyone hates Adric. We just got to the point where he's just going to start being the worst. That's what other people have made it sound like.
Honestly, I didn't care for any of the companions this serial.
No.
Adric was a dick. Tegan was way too, like, panicky and crying and screaming the whole time. And Nyssa was there.
I do want to say that, like, people sometimes criticize companions for, like, having fear responses and reactions where it would totally be fair to have, like, where you would be afraid. Right. People panic and cry and all that stuff. But the level of action in this serial was so low that you're kind of like, nothing's even happening yet. Like, it's fine.
The dude was just like, oh, I'm a robot. And she's like,
what? Robots are evil!
Oh my god! This goes against my religion. I don't know.
I know, her assertion that robots are evil, she never goes into any more detail about it.
I think she's like, they don't have a soul or something. I don't know.
And literally the face that the Doctor makes is like the only way that it's challenged in any way. The Doctor is just like, what? You know what? I don't have time to unpack that. Like, that's how the scene ends.
But yeah, that's my final thoughts. Is It was a bit mixed, but it was good. I enjoy seeing 5.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a lot to say about this one. When we posted our announcement that we were going to be streaming it, Alan actually, who's been a guest on the podcast before, was like, I don't think anyone's going to want to watch that with you. And we were like, oh no, it must be a bad one. I mean, it was fine. Like you said, it obviously has some pacing issues and it's not like the most action-packed version of this show. But it was fun to get to see the 5th Doctor be the 5th Doctor. And yes. I think he was very good at it. Like, I enjoyed the choices he was making. Having the companions all have conflict with each other, good idea. Less good idea, making the conflict be because they're all annoying.
Because Adric is an incel.
Like, Adric's annoying, Tegan's annoying, and Nissa's non-existent. Like, those aren't good sources of conflict. They're just, grating to be around. Good idea, poor execution. I had fun watching this one, though. And I don't know if that is in part because of the hiatus we took. And I was like, oh yeah, it's actually been a while since we've watched.
And even when we came back from our hiatus, we watched K9 and Company.
This is really the first classic Who proper that we've watched.
Because Castrovalva, the Doctor wasn't really there.
Well, yeah. That's what I mean. And I think that might be this episode was fine, but it was fun to watch again. And
right.
I think maybe us taking a break was very important to me enjoying this show. And that's all I really have to say.
It was our first Doctor Who episode since the hiatus that
the Doctor's being the Doctor.
That it's just a Doctor Who episode. It's not doing anything specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Castrovalva has stuff that it has to do.
And K9 and Company is its own thing.
So yeah, it was weird to have that expectation of this isn't going to be very good, and not to again, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm not
not
super
great.
Singing its praises, but it was fun to watch in a way that I haven't necessarily had watching the show in a while.
Right, and I've heard the next one's going to be really good, so
I'm excited.
So before we go, is there anything we need to plug?
See Unseen World on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Actually, don't go to our Twitter. Well, go to our Twitter, but I don't update it. See Unseen World. You can watch it on watchheartlandtv.com. You can watch it on demand. There was a period of time where you could only sort of watch it when it would be playing on Heartland. Or
just only on the Roku.
Yes. You can still watch it on the Roku. You can watch it on demand on the website. And we've got some really good episodes coming out in season 2. There's actually an episode that I just talked about Alan commenting on our show. Alan, who's been on our podcast before.
He's going to be in an
He's going to be in an episode of The Unseen World. He pitched a story to me and I was like, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. And then we just went and we shot it. And it's going to turn out, I haven't edited it yet, but Joe has looked at the footage. He helps me. Anyway, it's going to be a very good episode and I'm very excited about it. So I'm working on finishing season 2 right now. Watch season 1 now while I do that. And be ready for when season 2 comes out. It's not a continuity heavy show. You can watch any episode at any time, but now's a good time. Now's a good time to watch some episodes. Especially now that we have it video on demand, there are actual analytics that the people who are in charge of my work can look at and see that people are watching it. So anyone who watches it, even if you just want to let it play while you do other things, I would dearly appreciate that.
It's a very good show. I like it.
Thank you.
Also, I'm not 100% sure because these episodes we're actually doing really good about making these way in advance. But I think around this time, I may have a new video out. It's either out or it's going to be out soon. It's called My Two Clones. You can check that out on mintypineapple.com. If it's not up yet, it should be soon. It's finishing its rounds in the festivals and whatnot. It's a video about a guy who has 2 clones. And and it gets weirder from there. Check that out. It's really funny and disturbing.
It is disturbing, yes.
Every time I've seen it with an audience, people have reacted with laughter and and it makes me very happy every time. Disgustion? They reacted disgustion. It's not. I will say it's not like gory or I don't know. It's not bad.
No.
Right. It's not something you're oh God, no.
Yeah,
it's just odd. I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to. Maybe don't let children watch it. So keep an eye out for My Two Clones. If you like this episode of the podcast, you can check out more on watchyourassilon.com and be sure to rate and comment on our iTunes. It does iTunes magic.
It does.
It helps us out. It gets us seen more and all that jazz. If you'd like to help us out even more, you can go to watchyourassilon.com/support, and there you'll find a link to our Patreon page, which you can get to just by going to patreon.com/watchathon. And there you can donate a monthly amount to get all kinds of rewards, like day early episodes, uncut video of the podcast records, live streams where we watch the episodes with you guys, bonus episodes. We've actually restructured a bit, so please go and check it out. Prices are a little different. Everybody who donates gets into our Discord server. It's a lot of fun. Also on our support page is a link to our Amazon wish list, where you can sponsor an episode of the podcast by purchasing the corresponding serial on DVD for us. We'll mention you in the podcast and put your name on our Friends of Rassilon page. Speaking of, special thanks again to Matt Golden for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
You can check him out on MatthewGolden.net.
Golden!
Also, I want to give a special shout out to Vincent E.L. for providing us with our theme song.
Thanks, Vince.
You can check out more of their music at vincentel.bandcamp.com. And tune in next time when we talk about Kinda? Kinda? It's destined to be a Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon classic, I am sure. Until next time, keep calm and wrestle on.
Goodbye, and I love you in a platonic parasocial way.
Donut ship.
Oh, God.
Flesh time. It's flesh time in the donut ship. But I've already made the flesh donuts.
I don't know if that was funny.
Bazoosh!
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.